Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, it's about 6:34 in the morning. I still got to get ready for work today, but I got up because, of course, I got to work. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. But like I said, I had to. I got up early and hello, just testing the thing there. Sorry about that. But yeah, like I said, I got up early because of the fact that I do have to work today, and I got everything set up for me to go in the facilities for me to wash up and everything, so I can be ready for that moment. But I wanted to come on here because apparently, excuse me, a lot happened in wrestling in the past 24 to 48 hours. Now, if you guys watched Money in the Bank, of course, you know this year's Money in the Bank was not probably the most unique one. Well, it was the most unique one, I should say, but it probably wasn't the way, people would envision it. You know what I'm saying? You know, people, didn't think. I mean, honestly, nobody thought um, the moment Money in the Bank was announced for this year that it would go from being in the location it was originally supposed to be in to taking place cinematically at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Nobody thought that. Nobody thought that whatsoever. So, yeah. Um, but yeah, like I was saying, but and it's early, you could tell. That's why I'm having trouble with my words. But anyway, like I said, um, oh yeah, like I said, it's early. I'm still waking up a little bit. But like I said, nobody would thought when they knew Money in the Bank was going to happen this year that it was going to be like what we got on Sunday. That it was going to be pre-taped. It was going to be, like I said, it was going to be pre-taped. It was going to be, um, taking place in Stanford at WWE headquarters. You know, Nobody thought that. Nobody thought for a moment it was going to happen that way. Nobody thought. Nobody thought that that's how Money in the Bank would occur this year. So, so yeah, basically, Money in the Bank, like I said, happened in a very unique way. And what made it more unique is how both matches simultaneously um, took place at the same time. So, yeah, both matches took place at the same time. So it was um, it was kind of unique in a sense, if you will. It's kind of unique in a sense of how it took place, why it took place the way it did, things like that. But the big news that came out of it, apparently, of course, the big news that came out of it, I should say, is who won the briefcases and what the end result of them winning it was. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Um, and it looks like I may have misspelled something here, but I'll fix that. But like I said, I'm not going to lie. Um, there you go. Just had to fix something real quickly. And like I said, I'm not going to lie. I thought some parts of it were entertaining this year for this year's Money in the Bank. I thought parts of it were entertaining. I like the fact that even as we saw on Monday Night Raw, it seems they're going to continue this storyline with AJ and The Undertaker. This obviously we're going to get one more match out of it. I don't know if it'd be Backlash. I don't know if it'd be SummerSlam. But apparently we'll probably get one more match out of these two very soon. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're going to probably get one more match out of these two individuals come SummerSlam or Backlash. Most likely SummerSlam than anything else. So yeah, it's going to be really unique on what we get. On what we're going to get between Undertaker and AJ following their Boneyard match at WrestleMania. Excuse me. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. But yeah, like I said, they had their moments. There's no doubt. But like I said, the main discussion point is who won Money in the Bank this year. Well, as the titles probably give, the title says for one of them, the end result was Otis winning the briefcase for the men and Asuka winning the briefcase for the women. Now, Otis didn't climb the ladder. He tried to, but of course they have to make a joke in there of, oh, he's too big, too fat, if you will, and anytime he steps on one of the rungs of the ladder, it breaks. So the only way he's going to become Mr. Money in the Bank is out of sheer luck. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happens. He becomes Mr. Money in the Bank out of sheer luck. So, yeah. Basically, that's what occurs. He becomes Mr. Money in the Bank when AJ and Corbin are fumbling around with the briefcase on top of the ladder. And after Corbin gets knocked down, courtesy of Elias coming out of nowhere and hitting him in the back with his guitar, AJ tries to grab onto the briefcase because it's already been unhitched, but he tries to hold on to it, but it slips through his fingers and right into the hands of Otis. So, excuse me. So, yeah, Otis ends up becoming Mr. Money in the Bank, and he has a unique way of how he's going to cash in, and I'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, he's going to cash in a very unique situation. So anyway, like I said, Otis becomes Mr. Money in the Bank, and he celebrates Asuka's Miss Money in the Bank. And honestly, here's the thing. I don't think Asuka and Otis were originally slated to become Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank. I don't think they were. I think, honestly, it was supposed to be Shayna for the women, and I think AJ for the men. I think that was deadlock. People were right on the money about it, but they were but basically they were the deadlock. It's like Shayna and AJ becoming Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank this year was set in stone. It's basically, was set in stone. It was the original plan. It was locked in. Nothing could change it. And then all of a sudden we go through this pandemic, things end up changing. WWE is realizing they're losing audience, they're losing steam. They need something that's going to keep people's interest. What do? They see that people like how Asuka's become entertaining in and outside of the ring. Check out her YouTube channel. She has one there too. And, people are behind Otis. They like the whole Beauty and the Beast angle he's got going with Mandy and how Mandy's falling for someone that, physically doesn't look like he should be with her, but, she finds him cute and adorable. And there you go. So obviously they realize the only way they're going to be able to probably get fans to keep watching, even while a lot of places are starting to slowly reopen, and allow people in, is to basically put the briefcase in the hands of those that people want to see. They want to see, that they enjoy, that they're entertained by. Now, not saying that people wouldn't have had a problem with AJ or Shayna, but that's originally if this whole pandemic situation wouldn't have gone down the way it did. So yeah, honestly, that's why, in my opinion, Asuka and Asuka and Otis became Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank this year. But what's interesting about Asuka winning and Otis winning is how they cash in. That's always the question with whoever becomes Mr. Money in the Bank or Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank, as we've called it now in the past several years. It's always interesting. Well, it's not just interesting, but it's always the question that gets asked is how are they going to cash in? And basically, basically that's a question that either gets answered that week, the night immediately after, that very night of Money in the Bank, at the following pay-per-view, either it's Backlash or SummerSlam, or Survivor Series or WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, whatever. It's always a question of when and where. Well, for Asuka, she didn't have to wait long to cash in because, as the title also says, and a lot of people probably know by now, it was reported by several sources, reliable sources that is, that Becky Lynch is expecting, that she's pregnant with child. And of course, we know who the father is. So congratulations to Becky and Seth for the first child. But anyway, Becky Lynch, of course, like I said, it was reported, somewhat rumored, but mostly legitimately reported that she might be expecting. So when it comes to Asuka becoming Mrs. Money in the Bank, everybody was asking, everybody was cool with it, but they were also asking why. Why not go with Shayna? Because, the storyline fits, right? Well, they could have gone with Shayna, but I think, again, like I said, they went with the one woman in the division right now on both brands that's entertaining, that people are getting behind, not just in the ring, but outside of it. So, everybody was wondering, why her, right? Lo and behold, Becky comes out and, she's in tears, she's crying, because she's saying she's got to go away. And pretty much we already know what that means. Even if it was not reported, beforehand through these very but what I'm trying to say is, if it wasn't reported beforehand by these reliable sources, I think pretty much a lot of people would have caught on as to why she was in tears and why she said she had to go away. I think everybody would have known, she's expecting. Even if, Fightful.com, Ryan Satin, Mike Johnson, or anybody else would have reported it, even if they wouldn't have reported it beforehand, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Basically, I think a lot of people would have pretty much figured it out the moment they saw her crying, legitimately crying, while she was talking about having to go away and all that. So, of course, she makes this announcement. This brings out Asuka. Asuka's wondering, okay, why do you have my briefcase? What's going on here? I'm expecting to cash in on you for a match. And then that's what Becky has to basically kind of straighten her out and say, and not in the usual the man kind of situation, not the man character situation, but she has to, well, kind of, but not really. This is more like the Becky Lynch. It's kind of a hybrid of what we knew of the Becky we knew coming from NXT to the Becky we now have. So anyway, getting back on topic. Becky basically tells Asuka that, yeah, the reason I have your briefcase is last night you women were not competing for a contract. You women were competing for the Raw Women's Championship. And she explains this by opening it up and showing exactly what they were competing for. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, let me correct myself there. She basically says that it wasn't she tells Oscar that she and the other women were not competing for a contract, and that instead they were competing for something more. She she basically unlocks the briefcase by doing putting in the combination, and as soon as she opens it, it opens up and reveal. And well, as soon as she unlocks it, I should say, it opens up, and what falls down with it, or what gets revealed when it's opened up, is the Raw Women's Championship. And she basically tells Asuka, who's kind of flabbergasted right now, like she's wondering what's this mean, what's going on. And then that's what Becky has to explain. Yeah, it wasn't a contract you guys were competing for. It was this. This was the Raw Women's Champ. This is the Raw Women's Championship, and whoever won that match was going to be the Raw Women's Champion, and it just so happened to be you, Asuka. And Asuka's all excited because she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm the champ! I'm the champ!" It's like because she expected, like a lot of us, oh, she's going to cash in, but when and where? But it's like, oh, she doesn't have to cash in; she's already the champ now, and she's excited and everything. And Becky's happy for her. She's crying a little bit because, obviously she has to give up her championship, but she has a legitimately good reason for it. And Asuka, she's all happy. She's all celebrating all over. She's celebrating on the announce table. She's celebrating back around ringside, stuff like that. She gets in the ring, celebrates. And Becky, she's happy for her. She's not mad or anything. She has a little bit of tears, but those are happy tears for both Asuka and herself, because she's like, that's right, you're the champ, and you go on, you be the warrior. I know you can be the champion. I know you can be, you go be that warrior, and I'm going to go and be a mother. And then boom, and that's when it hits Asuka. It's like Asuka's holding the belt, and she's like, a mother, a mother. And she's all happy for Becky, and she's like, she's hugging her, and she's like, congratulations, and all that. And then she's looking at Becky, or looking around. Obviously, there's nobody around, but she's like, yeah, Becky, Becky, Becky. So obviously, Asuka's going to be not only the new champion of Monday Night Raw, but she's now also going to be obviously a babyface. So much for the Kabuki Warriors being heels, well, at least one of them, at least. Becky reveals that not only is she pregnant, which was a lot of us pretty much figured out whether or not we read the reports that were sent out earlier in the day. Not only does she report that she's pregnant, reveal that she's pregnant, but she also reveals that the women's portion of the Money in the Bank match that happened simultaneously with the men's was not for a contract, but for the Raw Women's Championship. So really interesting development there. But yeah, congratulations again to Becky and Seth. They truly deserve this moment. And you got to wonder how it might play into Seth as a character on screen as the next, I would say, 9 months are going to develop. So we'll wait and see. Asuka is the champ now, and happy for her. I'm really happy for her, and the fact that it makes her the second Grand Slam champion in women's history, or women's WWE/WWF history, because of the fact that she has, she has won every women's championship currently available, from the NXT to the SmackDown to the women's tag, and now the Raw Women's Championship. So she's won every single championship there is. Anyway. Asuka's the champ now. And someone I just read a question here on the World of Women's Wrestling Facebook page, and I'm linking this onto this live stream. And they're asking, with Becky gone for the foreseeable future, how would you book the women's division going forward? Well, that's a good question. And obviously, you have to focus on keeping Asuka the way she is. Let her be entertaining, be the Asuka that's. Because what I see here with Asuka is I see a mixture of what she is now and what she was in NXT. It's kind of a hybrid. So I would keep her like that, but mix in more of the NXT side of her and really focus on Shayna being her opponent. Because if you really want to sell who the toughest is legitimately, with one on one against with Asuka and Shayna. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you want to sell a matchup people will want to see, it's kind of like would feel like a real, true shoot fight, and both individuals don't mind beating the legitimate crap out of each other. Asuka and Shayna is the way to go, and you can even even you can even have Asuka in her own way, kind of bring up the fact that you may have choked me out and beat me in the chamber, but I had already competed then. I had not competed here yet, one on one with you. So yeah, I think that'll be that's going to be a really, really interesting. So I think that would be a really interesting feud to go with. And honestly, Shayna's response in character, if you will, I think it's going to make her more hated, not just by the fans, but by the women in WWE, both between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, to the point that you're going to want to see, to the point that you're going to want to see, or it's going to be built to where every woman that's supporting Becky in this new journey, this new chapter of her life, are going to want to kick her ass. That being Shayna's. They're gonna want to kick her ass. Excuse my language there. So, and she's gonna mow over the women that want to kick her ass, like she did even though she had a decent match with Natalia last night, she beat her. So that's what I think is gonna happen. But yeah, I think the first legitimate program for Asuka will not be Kairi. I think they're gonna build to that if Kairi remains, which I think she will now. But I think it's gonna be Shayna that they build toward, or it's for Asuka first. Now, with that said, speaking of Money in the Bank, but again, also congratulations to Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins for the first child. But with that said, the big question is about Otis. Otis, like I said, and everybody has talked about, became Mr. Money in the Bank last night. He became Mr. Money in the Bank, well, not last night, but on Sunday. He became Mr. Money in the Bank by pure coincidence and sheer luck. Now, they could build upon this and either have Corbin, or maybe next week when they do the brand to brand invitation, perhaps AJ come out on SmackDown and say, hey, and confront Otis and say, hey, the only reason you won was because I accidentally dropped it, or you just got lucky and it just fell into your hands. You didn't climb the ladders. They could build upon that and say, you know what, Otis, if you're a legitimate Money in the Bank guy, why don't you put the briefcase on the line? So they could do that. They could probably do that. But right now, reports and rumors are going around. Excuse me. Like I said, reports and rumors are going around that the plan for Otis's cash-in is not on the Universal Championship, even though Otis and Braun might be ugly, but it would be intriguing, or on the WWE Championship, which again would be intriguing and interesting between Otis and Drew. Nope. The plan is to have Otis do what nobody else has done, because Otis might be big and fat, and which, in story people would consider dumb, or someone like Mandy might find cute and adorable. It's going to be revealed probably this week on SmackDown that Otis is a lot smarter than people give him credit for, and he's going to probably point out that the contract states that you can cash in on any champion, not just the Universal or WWE champion. That's what I think they're gonna do. They're gonna have Otis come out. He's gonna bring out Tucker. He's gonna bring out Mandy, and he's gonna say, and he'll probably make the announcement that, look, yes, there's states that usually you should be cashing in on the WWE or Universal champion, but the contract states, the fine print states, any champion. It doesn't have to be WWE or Universal. And I think that's when he'll make the announcement that he's going to do the one thing no one else has ever done. He's going to cash in on another championship. And what he's going to cash in on is the SmackDown All Raw Tag Team titles. Which, for someone like Otis, and for Otis makes sense because he wants to share this moment with not just Mandy, but with his best friend Tucker. He wants to share it and give something back to both of them. And for Tucker, so for Otis to say, Tucker, I want to share this moment with you. You've been my friend for a long time. We've been through thick and thin. So I think it's only right that we cash in on the tag team titles. So I think that might be interesting. So obviously that's the rumor and report going around that that the WWE plans for Otis to cash in on the New Day. That's the plan. That's the plan, to have them cash in on the New Day, or thanks to this brand-to-brand invitation, maybe even the Street Profits. Who knows? But yeah, it's really, it's kind of a unique twist on the Money in the Bank briefcase cash-in, because usually it's related to the major championships in the divisions. For the women, it's connected more so to the women's Raw and to the Raw Women's or the SmackDown Women's Championship. And for the men, it's more connected to the WWE and Universal Championship, or even in the past, the WWE and World Heavyweight Championship. It's always been connected in that manner. It's never been, it's never gone in a direction to where the women's Money in the Bank winner, becomes the champion by winning the match itself unknowingly, or unknowingly becomes the champion by winning the briefcase itself. Nor has it gone in a direction to where one of the winners decides, I'm not going to cash in on the WWE or the Universal Championship. Instead, I'm going to share it with my friend and my tag team partner, and we're going to cash in on the tag team titles. So it's kind of a unique. So I guess because this year has been so unusual, so out of sync, so out of left field, that once we get to 2021, people are going to want to leave 2020 in the background and just forget about it, act like it's non-existable, kind of Benoit, if you will. Basically, I guess WWE is going to go with the flow, going to go with that trend of it's, unusual, it's unpredictable, you don't know what's really going on, kind of deal, so, why not, go with the flow? And that's why Asuka became champion the way she did. Now, some people are saying, you know what, Asuka, some are saying, well, why didn't they just have, it's like, some are saying, well, why didn't they just have her vacate the championship, and with the exception of Asuka, put all the other women in a tournament or a battle royal, have that person win the battle royal or the tournament, and then Asuka cashes in on them? That's a good question, but again, I think what they're trying to apply is, if the champion can't defend due to circumstances beyond their control, like injuries or in this case pregnancies, that basically it automatically makes the Money in the Bank contract match a championship match, a legitimate championship match. And that's what happened in the case of the women's Money in the Bank matchup on Sunday. Well, the men's Money in the Bank, you would think the winner would cash in, like I said, on the two top champions of either brand. But because it's Otis, and obviously right now, let's be honest, no one will really take Otis seriously as a world champion. The best thing is for Otis being portrayed as the kind sweetheart he is, you know, in character. It would make sense for him to want to share it with his partner, Tucker Knight, and cash in on the tag team titles. Now, I know some people are thinking, and even I thought about this last night, well, what if they decide to use this to turn Mandy back into a heel? Like, everything Sonya Deville's telling people about her is true, and it starts to come to light. She sees Otis has the briefcase. She's going to want to manipulate Otis into cashing in on a world champ, da da da. I don't think they're going to do that because they spent too much time building towards Otis getting Mandy, and Mandy becoming a babyface and all that, and liking Otis for who he is, and what he looks like. So I don't think they'll go that route. If they do, it's basically a slap in the face of the person that they had to furlough slash let go, who originally wrote it. So I don't think they'll do that, because if they bring her back, I'll tell you this: if they were to do something like this, well, the original writer, script writer for the story, or storyteller for this angle, is furloughed slash let go, sitting at home. The moment they bring her back, she's just going to correct it. She'll just correct it. So no, I don't think they'll do that. I think honestly, like I said, because it's a very unusual year this year, and WWE's in an unusual circumstance right now, and the only way they're going to be able to, like I said, keep people watching their product is they'll probably just have Otis cash in on this tag team titles along with his partner. Now, could they have him? Now, could they go the route of Asuka and Becky Lynch on Monday, this Friday on SmackDown, by having I don't know, who is it, Vince McMahon or Triple H come out with the men's Money in the Bank, have Otis come out and reveal that since Sami Zayn doesn't want to defend his title, doesn't want to be here because circumstances beyond his and everybody else's control, that what if Triple H does the same thing? What if he opens it up and says, oh, by the way, just like Asuka didn't know just like the women didn't know they were competing for the Raw Women's Championship at Money in the Bank instead of a contract, the same with the men, and the same goes for them. What I'm trying to say is, okay, well, I'm trying to get my words here because it's still early. I got to get myself ready in a bit. But basically, basically, this is what I see playing out. Either you're going to have Otis make the announcement that he's going to share this victory with Mandy and Tucker, and then they're going to cash in on the tag team titles, or you're going to go the same route that they did with Becky and Asuka, but this time you'll have Triple H come out with the briefcase, or somebody of an authority figure, like maybe Stephanie McMahon, who knows, but probably most likely Triple H. You have Triple H come out and have the briefcase in hand and state that, just like Becky revealed that the women's Money in the Bank matchup wasn't for a contract for a title shot, but instead for the Raw Women's Championship, that because Sami Zayn hasn't been around to defend his title, and he's at home because certain things are beyond his control and WWE's control, that the men's Money in the Bank match was not for a contract as well. It was also for that the men's Money in the Bank match, I should say, was also for a championship and not a contract. And I could see them doing this. I could see them having Triple H do what Becky did, and that's reveal by opening up the briefcase the Intercontinental Championship and saying, Otis, because you were the one that won the match, technically, you are the new Intercontinental Champion. And it would make sense because you have somebody there that's a champion and that people are behind, and it could create a very interesting scenario. Now, like I said, they could go that route. They could go the route, like I said, that they did with Becky and Asuka by having Becky reveal that the women's Money in the Bank match wasn't for the contract, but was for the Raw Women's Championship because she can't be there due to her expecting. You could have Triple H come out, or someone, most likely Triple H, but someone of high authority come out and say that because Sami Zayn is unable to defend his championship because of circumstances beyond his and WWE's control, that the men's Money in the Bank match was also for a championship, and thus opening the briefcase reveals the Intercontinental Championship, and that because Otis was the one that won the match by being the last one with the briefcase when it fell to the ground and catching it, he is the new Intercontinental Champion. And I can see them doing that. I can see them, you know, basically making both matches, not just for contracts, but for championships. And it'll be really really intriguing to see if they do that. So that's how I look at the whole Otis situation. Like I said, Otis, reports going around, rumors going around right now is they're expecting him to make the announcement that he's going to share this victory with not just Mandy but with Tucker, and that instead of cashing in on the two top titles in WWE, he's going to cash in on the tag titles so he could share this moment with his best friend. Or in my opinion, they might go the route that they did to fill the void for the Raw Women's Championship in Becky's absence, by basically revealing that the men's match was also for a championship, not a contract, and the championship they were fighting for was the Intercontinental title, and that's how Otis becomes Intercontinental Champion. So they could do that too. I'm not saying they would. I'm not saying they will. But they could do that too, and it would be, I think, an interesting direction to go in. I think it really would. But yeah, the rumor going around, like I said, the reported rumor is they plan to have Otis cash in on the tag titles. That's the plan. But I think because there's also word going around that they are going to address the Intercontinental Championship situation this week on SmackDown, that, again, they're either going to have Otis and make the announcement of cashing in on the tag titles, or they're going to go the route that they did with Becky and Asuka to fill that void of a vacant champion, of the champion not being there due to circumstances beyond their control, and reveal that both matches this year were not for contracts, but were for individual championships. And in the case of the men, it was the Intercontinental title. So that's what I look at. I look at the fact that they're either going to go the route that they're reporting, having Otis make the announcement that instead of cashing in on the top tier championships of WWE, instead he wants to cash in with his partner Tucker on the tag titles, or they're going to go the route where they'll have somebody come out, most likely Triple H, and have Triple H make the announcement that just like with the women's match at Money in the Bank was for a championship instead of a contract, due to the fact that Becky is now expecting, that the men's match was the same way due to Sami Zayn not being able to defend the title because of circumstances beyond his control, and thus he'll open the briefcase, that being Triple H or whoever, and reveal the Intercontinental title and present it to Otis. So yeah, that's basically, again, how they plan to get Otis to cash in. They're either going to have him cash in on the tag team titles, either SmackDown or the Raw titles because of the brand-to-brand invitation, or they're going to go, in my opinion, the route that they did with Becky Lynch because of her expecting, and reveal that the men's match was also for a championship, that being the Intercontinental Championship. So that's just my opinion. But right now the report is WWE plans to have Otis cash in on the tag titles. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go and swerve us and go the same route they did with Becky, because, Sami can't be there because of what's going on to defend the Intercontinental title. So they have to vacate it and put it on the line in the men's MITB, and the winner of that became Intercontinental Champion. In this case, it would be Otis. So I have to see what they do, because they're supposed to address the title situation on SmackDown. Wouldn't be surprised if this kind of coincides with it, and then that's how we get a new Intercontinental Champion. But if they don't, expect Otis to come out, make the announcement that he knows that usually the contract's cashed in on the WWE or Universal Championships, but instead he's going to switch that up because it says any champion. It doesn't specifically say one title or two, one championship, or it doesn't specifically say certain championships. It says any championship, and I could see Otis pointing that out and making the announcement that because it says any championship, he wants to share this moment with his partner and that they're going to cash in on the tag titles. So it'd be really interesting how they're going to address the situation as we move forward in that direction. But anyway, though, guys, that's that's really all I'm going to say on the situation right now. On that situation, but on what's been going on in WWE and wrestling in the past 24 to 48 hours, mostly WWE. Again, congratulations to Becky Lynch and Seth as on their first child. And again, congratulations to Asuka to being the Raw Women's Champ and the second Grand Slam Women's Champ. And on top of that, again, reports are WWE plans to have Otis make the announcement that the contract states not just a certain Pacific Championship, but any champion, or certain champions, but any champions. So the report is WWE plans to have Otis make the announcement that because the contract states any championship, that he wants to cash in with Tucker on the tag titles. Or, in my opinion, don't be surprised if they swerve us and they go the same route they did with Becky, and then they reveal that the men's match was also for a championship, that being the Intercontinental Championship, and that gets rewarded to Otis. Don't be surprised that might happen if they decide to go that route. But anyway, though, guys, overall, the Money in the Bank matches I thought were entertaining from what I saw. I liked it. I like the fact that they're playing upon a lot of things, like, obviously they're still not finished with AJ and Undertaker. They're still going to do probably one more match between the two, either at Backlash or SummerSlam. And obviously, and again, obviously they're going to play upon some other things as well as that come out of Money in the Bank. Like, there's a moment when Corbin throws one of those dumbbells, at, I think, who is he trying to throw it at? Was it Alistair or somebody? Or I think, oh no, he was trying to throw it at Daniel, and he ends up breaking a window in the gym, and it shatters, and you get this focus on Corbin for just like a second, like, he has this bit of fear in his eyes, like he's shocked about what he did, but also has this bit of fear in his eyes, like, are they trying to say Corbin's superstitious? So they could probably so obviously they're going to probably build upon that with the acknowledgement of, oh, wait a minute, is Corbin superstitious? There you go. So that might be something that they build upon because of that. But overall, I thought they were entertaining. I thought they were okay. And the end results, Asuka and Otis winning, the end results is one of them became champion because of it, because of the current champion expecting, and congratulations once again to her. And the other champ, obviously because no one would have saw it coming, and the possible cash-in scenario that comes with it, or maybe even the possibility of going down the route that they did with Becky to fill the void for the Intercontinental title. But we'll have to wait and see. But overall, though, guys, those are just my thoughts on everything that's happened over the past 24 to 48 hours in WWE and in wrestling in general. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Thank you all for watching live this morning, and I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care. Expect maybe a video to come out or be uploaded during the afternoon that I will do probably during break or during lunch, probably all three. Expect that, and I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I got to hop in the shower and get ready to go to work.